Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will explore African cities that have been alive for the past 700 to 4000 years. So without wasting time, let's get started. Starting at 34, we have Lamu. This city arose in the late 14th century as a Swahili port city. Built from coral stone, its narrow alleys, carved doors and elegant houses reflect the Swahili culture. Lamu became a major center for dhow building, scholarship and learning, maritime trade and Swahili poetry. The city peaked between the 17th and the 19th centuries when it was one of the most respected intellectual centers along the East African coast. It maintained independence through alliances and diplomacy, even as European powers began to dominate coastal cities. Today, Lamu Old Town remains one of the best preserved Swahili settlements. It is still inhabited with living Swahili traditions. Next on our list, we have Agadez. This city began in the 11th century as a desert encampment of the Tuareg people, as it was positioned strategically along caravan routes that linked the coast of West Africa to the markets of the Maghreb. Its golden age arrived between the 15th and the 16th centuries when Agadez became the capital of the Sultanate of Air. The city became known for its mud brick architecture, including the construction of the Agadez Grand Mosque, whose minaret remains the tallest mud brick structure in the world. Expertise in leatherwork, metalwork, and jewelry also flourished. Today, Agadez is still inhabited and remains a living museum of Saharan life. Though modernity has reached it, the city preserves its ancient layout, its traditions of caravan trade, and its symbolic identity as a crossroads of desert culture. At number 32, we have Marrakech. This city was established by the Almoravid dynasty in 1070 as a military base that soon evolved into an imperial capital. Its founders constructed walls, mosques, palaces and gardens, turning the desert plain into a thriving metropolis. During the Almohad and later dynasties, Marrakech became a center of scholarship and learning, trade, governance and expertise. Innovations such as the Ketara irrigation system, which channeled underground water across long distances, helped sustain the city's fertile gardens and agricultural estates. By the 16th century, Marrakech had become a cosmopolitan center, linking African caravans to the Mediterranean world. Today, its Medina, souks and monumental architecture, from the Kutubia Mosque to the Saadian tombs, make it one of Africa's best preserved medieval cities and a major cultural capital. Moving on to Timbuktu. This city began as a seasonal encampment of the Tuareg, who used the location as a resting place near important wells. By the 12th century, its strategic location on trans-Saharan trade routes transformed it into a permanent city. Under the Mali Empire, especially during the reign of Mansa Musa, Timbuktu became a global center of learning, with scholars from across Africa and the Middle East gathering at the Sankore, Jinkareiber and the Sidi Yahya mosques. Its scribes produced thousands of manuscripts on astronomy, mathematics, law, medicine and history. During the Songhai Empire, Timbuktu's trade in gold, salt and books reached its peak. Though diminished today due to shifting trade routes, the city remains inhabited and preserves its manuscript libraries, which continue to reveal Africa's long intellectual tradition. Up next is number 30. Walata rose in the 11th century as a caravan terminus for traders moving between West Africa and the Maghreb. It served as an outpost of the Ghana Empire and later the Mali Empire. Known for its manuscript scholars and distinct architectural style, Walata became a celebrated center of Saharan culture. In the 14th century, the city was described by Ibn Battuta as a place of refined scholarship and artistic taste. Though largely reduced in size today, Walata is still inhabited and remains one of Mauritania's historical jewels. On the 29th spot, we have Kano. Kano's roots lie in early Hausa settlements around the Dala Hill in the 5th century. According to tradition, Bayajida, who was a foreign prince, helped unify the Hausa city-states around the 10th century, making Kano a central seat. By the 11th century, Kano had emerged as a major hub for weaving, dyeing, leatherwork, and trans-Saharan trade. Its famous indigo dye pits, which are still used today, attest to centuries of expertise. The city's huge earthworks and walls demonstrated sophisticated urban planning. During its peak, Kano was one of West Africa's richest economies, exporting cloth, leather, grains, and metals. Later absorbed into the Sokoto Caliphate and then colonized by the British, Kano adapted to new political systems but retained its commercial spirit. Today, Kano remains one of Nigeria's largest cities with a clear link to its ancient past. At number 28, we find Cairo. This city was founded in 969 when the Fatimids established Al-Qahira as their new royal capital north of earlier settlements such as Fustat and Al-Askar. Its location along the Nile made it a strategic center for administration, trade, and scholarship, drawing people from across North Africa, the Mediterranean, and the Middle East. Over time, Cairo expanded into a thriving metropolis marked by mosques, markets, and fortified structures like the Citadel, while Al-Azhar grew into one of the world's most influential centers of learning. Today, Cairo remains Egypt's capital, blending modern life with its historical districts and reflecting more than a millennium of continuous cultural development. Moroni was founded around the 10th century as a Swahili settlement on Grande Comore that was frequently visited by Arab and Persian traders. Due to its strategic location along Indian Ocean routes, the town developed into a vibrant center for trade, agriculture, and seafaring, with connections to Kilwa, Mombasa, Arabia, and Madagascar. Over time, Moroni evolved into the political capital of the island, with mosques, narrow coral stone neighborhoods, and a strong maritime culture centered on dhow craftsmanship. Today, Moroni is the capital of the Comoros and continues to reflect centuries of coastal heritage shaped by African and Indian Ocean influences. Now, at number 26, we have Suakin. This city's origins stretch back to at least the 10th century, though earlier references by Ptolemy suggest it may have existed long before. Built on a coral island along the Red Sea, the city rose as a key port connecting Sudan to Arabia, Egypt, India, and the wider Indian Ocean. Its coral-built architecture, with whitewashed multi-story houses and ornate balconies, reflected a blend of African, Arab, and Ottoman influence. During the medieval and early Ottoman periods, Suakin served as a major stop for pilgrims traveling from Africa to Mecca, and a hub for merchants transporting gold, ivory, spices, and textiles. The city declined in the 19th century when Port Sudan replaced it. Much of old Suakin stands in ruins, but the neighboring settlement is still inhabited, with restoration projects aiming to revive its historical importance. Coming in at number 25, we have Mogadishu. Mogadishu rose in the 10th century as a cosmopolitan port city inhabited by Somali clans and connected to the Swahili and Arab worlds. It became known for fine textiles, especially the al-Mukatisha cloth, which was exported widely, as well as goldsmithing, shipbuilding, and Indian Ocean trade. The city's peak came between the 12th and the 15th centuries, when Mogadishu minted its own coins and maintained diplomatic ties with China. Despite periods of conflict in modern times, Mogadishu remains continuously inhabited and historically important. At number 24, we have Mombasa. This city was first inhabited from around the 600s, and by the 900s, it was already a major Swahili settlement. Its natural harbor made it ideal for maritime trade, linking Africa with Arabia, Persia, India, and China. The city became known for shipbuilding, gold and ivory trade, architecture built of coral stone, and the development of the Swahili language as a lingua franca of the Indian Ocean world. Mombasa frequently changed hands between local rulers, the Portuguese, Omani Arabs, and eventually the British. Modern Mombasa remains Kenya's main port city, still built around its ancient island core. Next, at number 23, we have Malindi. This city began around 850 AD near Mambrui and grew into a powerful Swahili city-state by the 10th century. Though partially destroyed around 1000 AD, it was rebuilt at its present site, and by the 13th century, it was already a large city. Known for its ironworking, farming, shipbuilding, and long-distance commerce, Malindi became one of the earliest African cities to establish diplomatic relations with China, where the fleets of Zheng He visited its harbor in the early 15th century. This state also sent ambassadors and a giraffe to Emperor Yongle of China in 1414. Today, Malindi remains a coastal town that blends Swahili heritage with modern tourism. At number 22, we have Kilwa. Kilwa's origins lie in the 8th century, and by between the 13th and the 15th centuries, it dominated Indian Ocean trade for gold from Zimbabwe, ivory from East Africa, and goods from Asia. Its great mosque, palaces, and sophisticated port cities show extraordinary wealth. In the 14th century, Ibn Battuta wrote that Kilwa was one of the most beautiful and well-organized coastal cities he had ever visited. 11th century coins from medieval Kilwa have also been found on an Australian island, highlighting the great routes the Swahili states commanded. Today, Kilwa is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, mostly in ruins but still inhabited by small communities. Now, at number 21, we have Fez. This city began in 789 AD when Idris I established a new settlement along the Fez River. It soon became a magnet for refugees from Andalusia and Cairo who brought knowledge, crafts, and urban traditions. Over its peak centuries, Fez developed into one of the world's greatest intellectual capitals. The University of Al-Qarawiyyin, which was founded in 859, remains the oldest continuously operating university in the world. Its Medina is still a thriving medieval landscape in the modern era. Breaking into the top 20, we begin with Sijil Masa. This city was created by Amazigh groups in 757 and became the Saharan gateway for gold caravans coming from the Niger region to the wider Mediterranean world. Its wealth shaped the rise of the Almoravids, who were one of the most powerful Islamic dynasties in North Africa and influenced North African trade for centuries. The city declined from the 14th century due to political instability, attacks by rival groups, and the gradual shift of trade routes. And while the ancient city is now largely archaeological, nearby settlements maintain continuity with the region's past. Coming in at number 19, we have Unguja Ukuu on the historic island of Zanzibar. The city began as an early trading community in the 6th to 8th centuries. The island's strategic position enabled interaction between Africans, Arabs, Persians, and South Asians like all the other Swahili states. Zanzibar became a global hub for clove cultivation in the 19th century, and its door trade and stone town architecture reflects centuries of cultural fusion. Modern Zanzibar continues as a major cultural and economic center with deep Swahili roots. Pate Island emerged as an early Swahili settlement around the 8th century and developed into a prosperous city-state between the 13th and the 17th centuries. It became well known for scholarship, literature, and refined Swahili culture. Pate produced some of the earliest surviving Swahili poetry and chronicles. The city's wealth came from trade in ivory, gold, textiles, and ceramics, and its elite commissioned coral stone palaces, mosques, and carved wooden doors. Though later declined due to shifting trade routes and political rivalries, its ruins and small modern communities preserve the memory of one of East Africa's oldest Swahili centers. Up next, at number 17, we have Tripoli. Tripoli stands atop layers of Phoenician, Roman, and Byzantine settlement. The city revived significantly during the early Islamic period in the 7th century, becoming a strategic port for trade and regional administration. Its industries included shipbuilding, ceramics, and textile production, and evolved through Ottoman and Italian periods into a major North African capital. Modern Tripoli still reflects its ancient Mediterranean roots. At number 16, we have Tunis. This city grew near the ruins of ancient Carthage, which had been founded in 814 BC. Carthage would go on to be destroyed in 146 BC, rebuilt a century later as a major Roman city, and then sacked again in 698 AD by Umayyad forces. During this time, a settlement which would become the modern-day Tunis was established at the outskirts of the ancient ruins. Under early Islamic rule, Tunis became a major administrative center and later the capital of successive dynasties. Though at the time, Carthage and Tunis were about 10 to 15 kilometers away from each other, modern Tunis grew to dominate the region. Halfway down the list, at number 15, we have Gao. This is one of the oldest urban centers in the Sahel and the ancestral capital of the Songhai people. Archaeological evidence shows continuous habitation from at least the 7th century, although some local traditions push its origins even earlier. Its earliest importance came from its strategic position on the Niger River, which enabled it to act as a commercial gateway between the desert nomads of the north and the agricultural communities of the savannah. By the 10th century, Arabic geographers such as Al-Masudi described Gao as a major trading metropolis dealing in gold, copper, and salt. When the Songhai Empire reached its peak in the 15th and the 16th centuries under rulers like Sunni Ali and Askia Muhammad, Gao served as the political and economic heart of the entire region. Its monumental structures, including the tomb of Askia, are proof to its long history and cultural sophistication. Taking the 14th position is Berbera. This city originated as an ancient Somali port and became a major Indian Ocean trading hub by the early medieval period. Its natural deepwater harbor made it ideal for maritime caravans linking East Africa with Arabia, Persia, and South Asia. From the 13th to the 19th centuries, Berbera was one of the most important commercial centers in the Horn of Africa, exporting gums, frankincense, livestock, hides, and ivory. For centuries, merchants from across the Indian Ocean gathered at Berbera's annual trade fair, which was renowned for its scale and economic influence. Today, Berbera remains inhabited and continues to grow as an important regional port, maintaining continuity with its long maritime legacy. Now at number 13, we have Zeila. Zeila's origins extend to the 1st century AD, though local traditions date it far earlier. As a Red Sea port, it linked the African interior to Arabian, Persian, and Roman trade networks. In late antiquity, Zeila came under Aksumite influence, serving as one of the Red Sea ports facilitating trade in ivory, incense, tortoiseshell, and gold. By the medieval period, Zeila had become the capital of the Adal Sultanate, which was a culturally vibrant state. It was home to famous scholars, imams, and merchants, and became deeply tied with the Islamic intellectual world. It remains inhabited today, though smaller than its historical peak.